Gun and bring it down here.
It's in your vehicle? Do you have any guns on you at all?
No, sir. It's leaning up against the side of my car.
Okay. You're fine, man. You're fine. Turn around for me.
I don't have any guns.
Okay. Yes, sir. I see that. Okay. This is your wife and son?
And son.
Okay.
It's the 7th of June, 2021. Around 10 p.m., police receive a call from a guy named Alex Murdaugh, who has found his son and wife shot badly inside a car. Police rush towards the place.
Sir, I want to let you know because of the scene, I do.
The authorities reach Alex's hunting place and find him standing beside the cars and corpses and approach him.
Central 717 scene is secured at a Whiskey Fox, Whiskey Mike, both gunshot wounds to the head.
An officer approaches him and asks if he's got any firearms, to which he responds that there's a single one leaning beside his car. Furthermore, it's asked if it's the only firearm he's got, and then he starts his fake sob story, saying his son was having fights lately, but I let them go unnoticed, and this happened in the end.
The gun and bring it down here.
It's in your vehicle? Do you have any guns on you at all?
No, sir. It's leaning up against the side of my car.
Okay. You're fine, man. You're fine. Turn around for me.
I don't have any guns.
Okay. Yes, sir. I see that. Okay. This is your wife and son?
And son.
Okay.
Then the officer inquired how he got to know about them while he wasn't even here. To which he responds, I got home and got worried after not finding them in, and the next thing I did was call you.
It's bad. Check the pulses.
Yes, sir. This is the firearm you brought from inside the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I went and got. This is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
He's been getting like punched. I know that's somebody. I know that's what it is.
Okay.
Then Alex was asked if it's the only firearm that he's got, to which he replies that he keeps a pistol in his vehicle, and the officer leaves.
How did you pull up? You from back there?
I went to the house and they weren't home, which was odd. I tried to call.
Okay.
And then I knew they had been down here before I left to go to my mom's.
Okay.
After a while, Alex Murdaugh tells that he was around them during the day. He drove with his son during the afternoon, and he left a while ago, and all this happened. Then he starts the drama again if his family is actually dead or not.
This is the only one, or is there any more in the truck?
I believe that's it.
You think that's the only one? Okay.
I'm 99%
Do you normally
certain that's
have
right.
any other firearms in your vehicle?
I don't, but
Okay.
occasionally there's a pistol in there.
Okay.
Alex is asked to provide the basic information about his son and wife, including their ages and birthdays.
When was the last time you were here with them? Or talked to them or anything like that?
It was earlier tonight. I don't know the exact time, but
Okay.
I left. I was probably gone an hour and a half from my mom's, and I saw them about 45 minutes before that.
Okay.
I rode around with Paul for 2 hours this afternoon in the pickup truck.
That's your son, Paul? Okay.
Somebody going to check them?
Yes, sir. They've already checked them.
They did check them?
Yes, sir.
It's official that they're dead?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
I'm sorry.
No. You're fine.
How you doing?
What's her birthday?
9/15/68.
Okay. And what's your son's first name? You said Paul?
Paul Terry Murdaugh.
I see quite a few tire tracks in here. Were any of these you going in and out?
No, I came in here and I left one time and I came back.
Okay.
The place gets sealed and Alex leaves the place. In the meantime, the investigation team arrives and starts talking to the rescue guy. He explains everything to him, from when he arrived, took Alex's gun, and the information he got.
All right. I'll find out and give you a call back. Yep. I'll find out from him and give you a call back. All right. Bye.
I know whoever Eric is, I guess the caller. There's a guy over here that's wanting to talk to him. But I told him he believes that.
Don't even know who Eric is. I know an Alex over
Alex.
Okay.
My bad.
there. There's a guy over here that wants to talk to him.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you wanted me to go tell him that or if you wanted me to just chill for a minute.
After having a look at surroundings and collecting basic proofs, they head on to the corpses and start covering them up so they could be shifted.
I haven't asked the dad about the phone, but dad did say he came over and checked their pulses.
The sheriff moves towards the building to analyze where the shots came from. As the window was broken, it was proved that the shots were drawn from inside of the house, straight through the window.
So I've got multiple gunshots out of that window too.
Do we see a shell?
At least 3.
A shell.
While going towards the vehicles, you could hear the officers discussing that there were 5 holes in the windows, and we have only found 3 shells, which means we haven't found enough bullets yet.
5 holes in the window in the back of that shed where rounds were exiting out the back that way.
Which is going to be buckshot because of the damn wadding on the floor. I mean, he was carrying a shotgun on the guy.
It is currently in my vehicle.
Yep.
All right.
Sheriffs furthermore discussed the holes in the window and under it. They were sure that the gun used was a shotgun. So Alex suggests that they might go check around the trees near those compartments because there are higher chances to find something useful.
Very large.
Yeah, there's some glass.
Some of them larger, some of them smaller.
You'd be able to, you'd need it in wood or something solid.
There's a whole bunch of trees back there, so they might be able to find something in a tree. I don't know.
After Alex suggests they go find the shotgun, they ask him if his son had any shotgun, to which he replies that his son never had a shotgun, and even if he had one, Alex had no clue about it.
He had a shotgun. He had a shotgun. But, don't know.
But basically, not his actual
So you got a power and negative contact with any
is on the ceiling.
and something else.
So if you're shot in enough range, the shotgun was laying on the floor.
Think he got here, took the shotgun.
That's what I'm thinking.
Alex calls his brother, and officers find it a bit suspicious and ask one another if he is actually calling his brother or not. To which one said, "I think we should believe it because he told us that."
No, Randy. That's one of the brothers. That's Alex's brother.
I believe it was because he said he was calling his brother.
This is Randy.
Officers went towards the body of his wife to have a better look at it after removing the cover from her.
Do you need me to lift the sheet at all so you can see closer to her body?
Then the investigation officers ask about her age and calls for the notebook where all the basic information was noted, and he was told that she was somewhere in her 40s.
Notebook where I had her date of birth in there. I don't remember what the guy told me off the top of my head. But I think somewhere around mid-40s, I think.
As you can see, the sheriff knew that the wound was from a shotgun, but the shells that were found did not belong to a shotgun. They even found 12-gauge bullets from his truck, and this was the time when suspicion shifted towards Alex.
Shotgun wadding, but we did not see a shotgun shell anywhere.
Which almost leads you as
What
two
kind of
shooters.
shotgun did you put in your truck?
I believe it's a 12 gauge.
No, not
I don't.
over and under auto
Pump.
And they still.
At the end, officers have collected enough information, so they begin to move back to the station, while bodies go for the post-mortem, and Alex is free to go. Till now, the only suspect they could find was Alex Murdaugh himself.
Am I okay to discontinue this?
Yes.
If I'm not talking to that guy?
After the autopsy report appeared, it was revealed that 52-year-old Margaret and her 22-year-old son Paul were brutally shot. There were multiple wounds on their bodies. After analyzing the situation, police came to the conclusion that no one came in or left the place during or after the murders, so Alex himself was the prime suspect. On the 21st of July 2021, Alex was called in front of a jury as the only suspect. The trial started and went on for 2 days, and on the 23rd of July, he was sentenced for life. The total footage is nearly 10 hours, and watching it all would be too tiring, so I'll include the essential ones. If you want the complete video, you can find the link in the description. Fortunately, Alex's son recorded a video of his dog in which he was playing with him, while his dad could be heard yelling at Margaret. This proved him guilty. At the end of the second day's trial, the video was shown to Alex.
Convictions involving dishonesty or false statements or any crimes punishable by more than 1 year imprisonment.
I did. It might be a policeman following me in a car. That night, June 7th, after finding Grandma and Papa T, there were so many questions that I couldn't answer. And I've been begging him to meet with me and to meet with Grandma and Papa T. I've been begging him.
Somehow we were able to get the real recorded video by Paul.
You hear 3 different voices in the video. You can tell because they're so different.
As you heard, the sound of Alex was too calming, irrespective of what he was going to do in further moments. It is too horrible to even think that he was about to kill his family while acting so normal.
That's a guinea.
This is a chicken.
Come here, Bubba.
Come here, Cash.
Come here, Bubba.
Cash. Quit.
As the video was shown to Alex, it was too unexpected for him, and he couldn't hold himself. As he felt that there's nowhere to go, he started crying, seeing the death in front of him. After the video, he was struck from every side and had nowhere to go, so he had no other options but to confront the murders.
Hey, brother.
That's a guinea.
This is a chicken.
Come here, Bubba.
Come here, Cash.
Come here, Bubba.
Cash.
In this audio, you could clearly listen to him confessing to the murders. Then the only thing that he had in his mind was regret, and he started to call out how great his wife and son were. But nothing was left there except regrets.
I was asleep on the couch.
Okay. And what time did you?
You know, I
What
don't
time
know
did you wake up?
exactly what time I woke up, but when y'all get my phone, you know, I think one of the first things I did when I got up was call Maggie, because it got, you know, he says it got stolen. You know, and it's been gone for some time. I wasn't totally convinced it was stolen.
Once the jury was absolutely convinced that Alex was the murderer, they came in, and his fate was about to be decided on the 23rd morning of July 2021. The judge came in, and the last moments of this horrible case finally began. In some moments, the judge will put the last nail in the coffin, and Alex will have to spend all his life within.
Be seated.
I understand that there is a verdict. You may bring the jury.
He asked the lawyer to stand up and tell them about the conclusions they have come to. Have they reached the verdict? Is Alex the actual murderer or not? To which they reply that everything is done and they have already reached a verdict.
Thank you. Madam Forlady, if you'll stand for me. Have you reached the verdict?
Yes, sir, we have.
Is it unanimous?
Yes, sir, it is.
He then asks for the verdict to be provided so he can have a look at it himself. The clerk is asked to take a copy of it from the lawyer, and he gives it to the judge.
If you will pass it up to the clerk, who will pass it to me. And you may be seated.
After having a look at it for a minute, he asks the defendant to stand for himself and present his point of view, while the clerk is asked to publish the verdict.
The defendant will rise. Madam Clerk, you may publish the verdict, starting with the back, not with the...
Alex stands from his place as the defendant, and the clerk starts announcing it as it's Alex Murdaugh, the defendant against the state of South Carolina. He even mentions the dates, codes, and other official information along with the 4 persons that signed the verdict.
Versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder, SC code 16-3-0010, CDR code 0116. Okay. Guilty verdict. Signed by the forelady, 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS-15-00593.
As you can see, the clerk asked those 4 persons individually and asked if they did these signs of their own consciousness and did they stand with the verdict, to which they all agreed. Basic stuff about the case was also stated for proper references.
Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC code -16-23-0490. CDR code 0549. Verdict guilty. Signed by the foreperson of the jury. Date 3/2/23.
Then the judge gives an overview of the case, how they've been working over it for nearly a month, and a proper verdict is presented. So now we should go on with the testimonials and the final results.
Arguments, we would submit that the case properly went to the jury and the verdict is proper, and would rely on those arguments.
We've been here now 28 days, first few days of jury selection, and the remainder receiving testimony.
Then the judge tells the jury to give it a precise look, and we're sure that enough evidence is already provided, and the jury is already convinced that the defendant is guilty.
The court found at the end of the state's case that there's sufficient evidence to find the defendant guilty if the evidence was believed by the jury. Likewise, at the end of the defense's...
Keeping these proofs in view, the jury denied the motion presented by Alex and said that the case would not be processed any further.
And I deny the motion. Mr. Murdaugh, you now having been found guilty of 2 counts of murder involving your wife and your son, 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, the burden now comes upon the court to impose a sentence.
The judge straight away states that Alex is found guilty for murdering 2 people, first his wife, and secondly, his 22-year-old son. Plus, he has been found guilty of using and keeping 2 weapons that were further used for the assassinations, and it's the time that the jury should announce the sentence. Then the judge explains how he could be sentenced to at least 30 years to lifelong imprisonment for a single murder and 5 years each as a charge for keeping a weapon. That means that at least he would have to face imprisonment for 70 years as a whole.
We will defer sentencing to a later date. Of course, the minimum sentence for murder is 30 years. The maximum sentence is life imprisonment as to each count. And on the weapons charge, the sentence is up to 5 years, or 5 years, which has to be concurrent if a life sentence is imposed.
The judge denies any facts and talks about the coming of the verdict and the evidence. He mentions that they all point towards a single thing, that Alex is the assassin.
I will make no comment now as to the extent or the overwhelming nature of the evidence, but certainly the verdict that you've reached is supported by the evidence, circumstantial evidence, direct evidence.
At the end, due to the non-presence of the junior jury, the senior jury adjourned the court till the next morning, saying the hearing will resume at 9:30 in the morning. Till then, it was concluded that Alex is the guilty one, and now he's counting hours to see his fate in someone else's hands. The next day, the courts resumed, and Alex was sent to prison for his entire life. This was the true crime investigation of a family murderer named Alex Murdaugh. He tried to orchestrate a fake story of his family's murder, but a video turned the tables down, and he was sentenced for his life in a cell. Hopefully you liked it. Make sure you give a like and press the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell icons to get notifications of the latest updates. We'll be back soon with more interesting videos. Till then, see ya.